Hey, this is Jason Krantz with Kingpin Carmi, Neault on Kingpin University. I kind of want to talk to you today about Tyler. Now, Tyler has been through a few of my classes, and I've got to know him very well, and he's a remarkable installer that no one really knows about. I consider him a ninja out there. He's been through some really high-end work, and his career has really taken off the last couple of years. I've seen a huge spike in his creativity and what he's putting out. And I'm actually kind of jealous, to be quite frankly honest with you. He's a true artist of what he does. And on top of that, makes him so special is he's basically running his own one-man bay operation inside a chain store. That's kind of how his company works up there in Canada. So he's got to be able to help sell stuff and manage parts and sell those parts, because that's all part of what he does in his little bay area there. And then he's trying to do the every day in, day out jobs that a larger store would have, and he's still be able to pull off this custom work and extremely fast. And that's awesome, because speed is all about production. And it's really incredible. He's a gold star out there. Like I said, he's my ninja. No one really knows much about him down the States, and they need to know about Tyler. He's absolutely a fantastic technician, and he's willing to learn, and he continues to strive to be better and continues to push the envelope every day, all while running his operation there at Visions. Just want to give a little insight of the ninja, Tyler.
Because my true inspiration was I was embarrassed at the last year trend show that we didn't have a nice car, and that Jason Krantz came up here and made all of our installs at the trend show look stupid.
Who cares?
Like, that was my inspiration.
That's the honest to God truth. So yeah.
So I wanted to build something that
would wow people.
That would impress people, and not like that would be the best install at the show. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to build that. That was my inspiration for building this.
I would totally say it.
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Grant McFadder. I'm the sales manager for Trends Electronics, and we cover the entire country coast to coast. So a lot of the things I get to see is some really cool installers all across the country, whether it's in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver area, Calgary, and Edmonton. But we got a lot of very talented installers across the country, and the reason I took some time today to come out and give Tyler from Visions some kudos is I think he's done an exceptional job the last probably 12 to 14 months. I've known Tyler for probably 16 years. He's always been a very good, talented installer, but he's been working the last 12 to 14 months with Jason Krantz from Kingpin and brushing up his fabrication skills. So he's gone from, like I said, a really good installer to an outstanding installer. I mean, the work he's done on a couple of the vehicles that I'm sure will be in his video is nothing short from miraculous from what he was doing before. he wears a lot of hats in the shop. He does he's install bay manager. He's got to order all the parts. He's dealing with customers all the time. Salespeople running back and forth. I think Visions is more of a retail-oriented store, more than a custom shop that a lot of the top guys work in. So he's got to be, he's pulled off of jobs. He's running around with his head cut off sometimes. But I think he's done, his fabrication work has gone from, like I said, fantastic over the last 12 months or so. So some of the cool things that I've noticed in his work over the last 12 to 14 months again is the amount of detail he puts into his work. Is the Lexus, for example. Like I know the customer quite well. We worked with him over the last couple of years on getting some special deals on the product and whatnot. But when we put this deal together for our trade expo, I knew Tyler was going to be doing the job, and I knew it was going to be a really, really good install. But it absolutely blew my mind. It was completely not what I expected. The details on the diamond cut design on the back of the subwoofer wall, the grill to make it look like the front grill of the Lexus with the chrome vinyl on it, the staggered floor on the amp rack with all the Helix amplifiers and such. It was just, again, it just blew my mind from what I was expecting to what he actually delivered. And I think that's kudos to his dedication to his craft and taking the extra effort out of off of shop time to go down to Portland to see Jason Kranitz and get some skills taught to him. The other thing that's really cool is, I've seen a lot of builds over the years where it's a 2-month, 3-month, sometimes a year-long project to get the job to look amazing. He was given 2 weeks to get this job done, and again, it blew everyone's mind. Everyone that came to the expo in Vancouver for our trade show, it was probably the most photographed car there. And again, we've got guys from all across the country attending that show. We had over 400 people attending that show, and I'm sure Instagram and Facebook and everything blew up with that install he did. So again, I'll touch on what I wanted to touch on was the amount of guys that are the top 50 class that people were nominated, and down to the top 10 or 12. I can't remember what it is, but they're all fabulous installers. And many of the guys have been nominated for years, and if I think there was an award for Installer of the Decade, probably most of them would get it, would be deserving. This award being Installer of the Year, I think Tyler deserves it because he's just, like I said, he's just grown immensely. And I don't see anyone else that's grown that much. They're all good installers in their own right, but for him to improve the amount he's done, and you'll see in the pictures yourself, the quality of work is top notch. I'll put it up against some of the best guys out there in the country, in the world even. So, I just like to give him kudos. I'd like to see him get Installer of the Year. I think he really deserves it, and all his extra effort will be paid off for him.
So electrical and operational integration. I'd refer back to the Lexus on this. On this vehicle, we took into consideration that the amps, we're putting 3 amplifiers in this, and it's going to need an extra battery. So we put an extra battery in the back. We ran power and ground from the battery all the way to the rear. We upgraded the grounds in the vehicle up front, in the back. We made sure there was good grounds everywhere. Integrate into the factory wiring. We integrate into the factory keeping the factory amplifier. So integrating into that, we cut as little wiring as we could to keep it solid and good. Everything soldered, and made sure everything was serviceable and accessible. We made it so you could take everything apart and get at it easily. Cosmetic integration. On my Impala that I built, I wanted to use materials and finishes that kind of made the vehicle look original but modified. You can look at the car and you can see it's been heavily modified, but I've modified it in a manner where I used a lot of the same materials the car originally had inside. The car originally had, in an old school car, would have lots of polished stainless or lots of polished trim in the car, or chrome trim. So I wanted to use a lot of aluminum. I wanted to polish all the aluminum. I wanted to have aluminum accents in everything I built in the car to kind of make it look OEM-ish, but with a big stereo and something totally updated and cool. Same goes with the Supra. The door panels were all about doing a super sleek custom door panel on the car that almost could have come on the car. If that car, maybe if someone was there designing a cool stereo in this car at the factory, it would have had a door panel on this. The lines flow with the door panel on the car. They don't look out of place. They don't look like they don't belong. They actually flow with it. People who don't know the car would almost think they're factory.
Hey guys, today I want to talk about the Mobile Electronics Industry Awards for 2017 for Installer of the Year, and today I would like to talk about Tyler Neault. Now, I've had the pleasure of knowing Tyler for a few years, ever since working for Visions Electronics, and I have to say, like, I was kind of intimidated by the guy because I saw some of his work before I ever met him, and I didn't know what to expect because we're kind of in that industry where egos are pretty high. When I first met Tyler, he's like the nicest guy. He doesn't look like it, but like he's like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And the cool thing is he really likes to teach. I would ask him, like I would see some of his work, like I remember the first iteration of the Supra, the JL audio system, and I would ask him, like, how did you do this? Like, how was the order of everything? How did you finish it? And like didn't know me and totally like just told me how he did it, no secrets. And I thought that was really cool because he just wants other people to be better, which is nice. Like, I've been invited to like a couple of trainings at his shop and got to work side by side with him. And you become really humbled. When you think you're good at something, you become humbled when you're around guys like this because their potential is like so high. And I truly think he hasn't hit it yet. Like, he's cracked it a bit. After doing that Kingpin training, he's started to come into his own. He's thinking about cars differently like he's never had before. Because I remember the installs, seeing the pictures of his older installs and seeing what he's doing now, the skill is just next level. He's just up there now. Another interesting thing about Tyler is his work environment. I work in the same one, where it's a retail high volume environment. So you have to remember that the nice thing is we have the ability to run the shop like our own, but what he has to do, he has to switch gears in his head all the time, and for a lot of people that can be difficult. When you are, like, you know, when you say you're in the zone, like whatever you're doing, but let's say you're working on some sort of panel and you are critiquing it and you know what you need to do to make this panel work. Well, he could be in the zone and then someone knocks on the door and then he's consulting his next job with the salesperson, with the customer. He might be doing some training with the salesperson, or he might have to organize something, like he might have to order parts for his next job. So there's always something happening on top because it's a one-man show. In my shop, I have another guy. So at least I have a little bit of that luxury where I have someone to help me. He doesn't have that luxury like I do. And that's where it's so impressive that he does this world-class quality work. And that's where it's impressive, is his time management. So I've worked in the shop a couple times with him, seeing how his day goes, and I've asked him, well, how do you do it? Like, how do you do those beautiful custom jobs and you get them done in a relatively timely fashion? Because all the pictures that you see of the things he's built, he's building them within 4 to 7 days. And he told me straight up, he's like, around 9 o'clock when everyone's gone, I stay at the shop and I work from like 9 p.m. to 12 or 1. And those few hours, he just gets so much work done because when he's in the zone, he can stay in the zone. And I don't know how many people can do that. Like, for one, there are people that have the talent, but do they have the energy to work that full shift and then come back from the shop at the end of the day and be inspired to build installs like this? Because the level of craftsmanship you see, you will not build cars like that unless there's passion. You can see in work if there's someone that's into the job or not. You can totally see it from an installer or an artist aspect, like point of reference. You can see the passion in his work. Not just after, if you're at the car show and you see him, he talks about his job, like you can see the passion, but just looking at the work without him being there, you can tell he loves what he does. As an installer, I have to be very grateful to have Tyler in my life as a professional and as a friend, because he always pushes people to be better. And with that attitude, I prefer to surround myself with people like that, and I'm grateful to be able to talk to him on a regular basis, because just by talking to him and shooting ideas back and forth on just not just about 12 volts in general, just like how to build cars, it's just making me better at doing it, because I have someone to throw ideas against where I don't have to feel like I can't speak my mind and be ridiculed for it, because he's very open-minded, and we'll joke around and stuff like that, but he'll be like, I like that idea, or no, I don't think that's a good idea. He'll be very real and honest with me, and I really appreciate that. And by having his positive outlook towards things really helps me just develop myself as a professional. Why do I think Tyler should win Installer of the Year? Quite frankly, from my perspective, it's because he's the total package. He is a very caring person when it comes to other people to work. He does phenomenal work, and the variety of work he does, not a lot of people can do, because like I said, he can wire beautifully, he can do integration, he can do remote starters and security, he can build cool custom things. Like he can truly build cars, and not everyone can. I've seen shops where they have a wiring guy and they have a fabrication guy, or they have someone that's pretty good overall but maybe needs help finishing because they just need more training. He can do all that because he's willing to learn constantly, and he's very humble about things. When if he knows someone knows more about them, he doesn't try to push it with his ego saying, oh yeah, I can do that. No, he'll listen and he'll just ask you, how did you do that? And I think that's why he's as good as he is, because he has that attitude towards life.
My system design process would describe as, I try to use as much useless space in the vehicle as possible, so the customer has as much usable space as possible. A lot of the stuff I'm trying to do, I don't want to take up too much space, but I want to take up enough that I can have the proper size enclosure in the trunk to make it sound right, or just to give the customer what they want, but not take up the whole car. So these cars are, all these cars are driving cars, so we don't, these people are driving these things daily. We can't take up all the room in the car, but we want to give them something super cool and enjoyable. The Lexus that I just recently done is a daily driver. They go get groceries in this car. They drive this car every day. They take their kids to school, to hockey, to whatever. So we had to make this car look super cool, but still drive it every day. And that's what we try and do with everything. All the hot rods I do, I try to make it so the trunk, so they could still throw a bag of clothes in the trunk and go away for a weekend, and use everything. I try to build everything and mount everything with stuff that makes it allows it to come apart. I try to use nutserts where we can, so we can mount it solid but still pull it apart 100 times and it will still bolt back to how it originally was. Using and implementing new technology into the vehicles, we're installing GPS smart start units into cars, where we're integrating the car to the remote starter and to your cell phone, so you can start it, you can stop it from your cell phone, you can pop your trunk from the phone, you can do anything from the phone to your car. You can activate a starter kill, so if your car was stolen, it just won't start again. You can activate that from your phone. We can do window roll-up modules where you arm your car and it rolls up all the windows, so now you don't have to park your car and roll up your windows. We're using iPads in cars, modifying an iPad to fit into the dash of a car, so now you can have your iPad in the car with Wi-Fi and all your music and email and everything right there at the touch of your fingers. My install education. So I started installing pretty much out of high school. I volunteered at a shop pretty much for 2 years without being paid. I was pretty much the shop bitch. I was learning for 2 years, The guy was teaching me every day, everything he could. And the guy actually became one of my best friends. And then he vouched for me and got me my first job. And from there on, I just kept working from the new guy in the shop, learning as much as I could, to eventually running my own installation bay many years later. And then now I'm running my own install bay, but now I'm trying to advance my skills even more by doing outside training and attending places like Kingpin University and Mobile Solutions, places like that. Yeah, so part of my role here is to help train the sales staff in not only sales, but selling the installation side of things and understanding how to sell the installation side. So when I'm not busy in the installation bay, I will go out on the floor and hang out with the sales guys and talk to them about selling install and how they sell install, and understanding why they need this for that vehicle or why they need that for that vehicle, and teaching them some sales techniques, and all in all, just trying to teach them how to understand install so they know how to sell it. So my activities in the industry would be going to car shows, sound offs, supporting the local trade shows when they happen, the Mobile Expo held every year by Trends Electronics, supporting that, building cars for it. That would be activity. Besides all that, I do push all my coworkers into getting better, whether it's to go do training or come to my shop. And we brought Jason Kranitz up here from Kingpin to do training with our 5 installers from our 5 different shops here. We did training here, and I kind of pushed that to happen and kind of got the ball rolling. And besides doing that with my coworkers, my fellow peers outside of my company I work for, I've pushed them to all go down and do training down at Kingpin University together. 3 different shops all kind of joined forces and went down there for a weekend and did training. And I think that does a lot for our industry, especially since we are a small, tight group. We're all really close to each other. And I think it does a lot of good for our industry being friends with our competitors and stuff. So how I network with other installation professionals, I think, I try to be friends with all the local shops. I actually like to think I've done a really good job of becoming friends with all the local shops around me. And we talk on a regular basis. So we shoot ideas off each other. So we go out for lunch or dinner and talk about the jobs we've done or the jobs we've got coming up and shoot ideas off each other. And I think it is a really good thing for our industry that we are really close up here. There's a lot of local shops here, and a lot of us are actually friends. So we can actually all hang out and go for beers and talk about the installs we've done, or the problems we've had, or the cool things we've done that maybe they didn't do, or vice versa. I learn from them, they learn from me, and it keeps our industry strong and healthy, I think. My certificates, awards, or recognition, in the past I've won a few best in-car entertainment awards at a local big import show. I've won that a few years in a row. I have been down to Kingpin University and I've gotten a few certificates from there. The Art of Tuning class that they offer, their advanced trunk panel class. So recently our company has finally made it mandatory for all installers to be MECP certified. So I really look forward to doing that in the next couple months. I have never been MECP certified. It's never been mandatory for us up here, but now it is, and it's something I really look forward to doing. So along with ordering all the parts and dash kits and stuff, we're trying to figure out what fits better in specific vehicles. So we have a wide variety of products available to us, different manufacturers, and brand A dash kit might not fit like brand B dash kit does in that Toyota. Brand B might be better for a specific vehicle, as where brand A might be better in another vehicle. So among ordering all these parts, we're being selective on which ones, by trial and error, we got to order them, we got to find out, and trying to give the customer all that we can give them with an off-the-shelf dash kit. We're choosing, one specific vehicle, we only order brand B dash kits or brand B wiring harnesses. We may not use pack audio on everything because pack audio isn't the best in every vehicle. Some vehicles you need to use the Metra harness or vice versa. So we got to stay on top of that. Same with the industry standards now. We're using tested tape on everything. We're using the better quality products in the basic installs. The basic installs are still getting soldered, shrink wrapped. Trying to do the best we can on the basic stuff, not just the big custom jobs, but the basic installs. So within our region at Visions Electronics here, we have 5 other locations in our region. So give or take a couple minutes, within 20, 25 minutes, I could be at any one of my local 5 stores. So they're really close to us. The really nice thing about that is all the other locations send their big custom jobs out to me to do. So not only am I at my location taking care of my salesmen, the sales here, all the installs here, because I am the only installer at this location, as were the other 5, they have at least 2 installers at each location. I am the only guy here, so not only taking care of my shop and everything here, I'm getting phone calls from our other stores and other salesmen about bigger custom jobs that they want to send out to me to do, or even their customers saw me on Instagram and wanted me to do their install. They just happened to be living in their neighborhood, so they went to their store. So it's super awesome that our guys can do that and they will send them out to me. It's awesome we have a good working relationship like that with all of our stores, not just they're all for themselves. We kind of all help each other out. And when our other installers do need help, I'm there. If our other installer needs help trying to figure out how to make this panel fit in this car, or make this custom thing do that, whatever, if they have questions, they call me, I call them. We bounce ideas off each other all the time. Finally, why should I be Installer of the Year? God, I don't know why I should be Installer of the Year, but I can tell you the way we work, the way I work. I'm not just an installer here. We are a high volume location. Visions Electronics does a ton of car audio sales and install sales at every one of our locations. So I'm involved in 80%, I would say, of the sales, whether it be the salesmen are coming to ask me what fits in the vehicle, what's the best stuff to put in that vehicle, what remote starter goes in that vehicle. I'm involved in like 80% of those sales, whether I'm doing the sale myself or I'm just helping the sales guys. I'm not just back here doing installs all day, every day. I'm out on the floor helping whenever possible, and so on. I also have to keep up with all of the shop parts, all the dash kits, all the wiring harnesses, all the shop supplies, everything needed to do the day-to-day jobs and the big custom jobs. I have to order those. So I'm keeping up on all my parts ordering. The nice thing about Visions Electronics is the way they let us run our install bays is they kind of let us run our install bays as if it's our own business. So our parts account the parts count is purely my responsibility. It is up to me to make money on it. It is up to me to make sure I have the right stuff and to be able to sell it and make money on it. You can just order product, but you might not be the best product for you financially wise. So I have to choose the right stuff that we're going to make money on and move and still give the customer a good deal. Also, I work on a wide variety of cars and installs. 1 minute I could be working on a full-blown custom install in a Toyota Supra that I have sitting here right now. The next moment I could be doing a deck install in a 1990 Honda Civic and maybe a pair of speakers. The next job after that, I'm probably doing a remote starter or just a basic amp and sub install into a newer vehicle. We work on a wide variety of cars, a wide variety of installs. I don't just do custom work. I don't just do basic stuff. I do all of it, and I find time to do it all, whether it be staying here till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night to get in a good solid 5 hours of work on that custom job when no one's around, or coming in early to start on the car early before anybody gets here.